Okay, everybody, welcome back to my vlog, Adventures of an Athletic Trainer. This week I did 13 and a half hours. Did some interesting things that I'll tell you about here in the next couple minutes. Some things I enjoyed, some things I didn't, but I guess if you want to see for yourself, you just have to become an athletic trainer and do said things yourself. Alright, so I did do a couple of on the field observation hours. I worked a women's tennis meet. Don't really know much about tennis, or didn't at least, until I worked it and sat there. It was a whole meet, so probably lasted 5 hours, and it was cold, really cold that day. But I did get to learn some things about tennis. I learned that at the NCAA Division III level, for regular meets, they don't actually have any type of referee or umpire, which I thought was really interesting. They kind of just do it themselves. Yeah, so I know, it's weird, right? Right. That was interesting. I mean, obviously not really a lot of contact there, so no one got hurt, and taped a couple ankles that day. Other than that, that day went pretty smooth, and now I know a lot about tennis that I wouldn't have known if I didn't work that. I worked women's volleyball practice, and one of the interesting things we did there was Megan had us observe one of the players who was coming off an injury, and just kind of watching her gait, watching her jump pattern, I guess, and making sure everything was going smooth. So that was interesting, just being able to focus on one athlete and try to focus on them throughout the entire practice, making sure nothing was wrong. Then I did a men's basketball practice. The roughest part about that was how early it was, because the men's practice started at 5:30 a.m. and went until 8. The usual stuff with men's basketball practice, you always have to watch out for them diving on the floor, which is probably the hardest part, I feel like, when you're doing a basketball practice, is when they dive and they're in that pile. You're never quite sure what the mechanism of injury is going to be there, but you always have to be observant for that. If something does happen and someone comes off hurt or something gets broken, you want to make sure you kind of have an idea of what happens. And with that scrum for the ball, it's a little fuzzy with what exactly may have happened to an athlete. Honestly, waking up that early wasn't fun by any means, but it wasn't terrible. I was up, felt awake for my morning classes, so that's a plus. And then after that, I had it out of my way, and the rest of my day was free, so that was actually really nice. And then I did a couple of observation hours, and at our observation hours, now that we have been working on soft tissue mobilization and massage, we have actually gotten to do the massages on the athlete, whereas before that, when we had to massage an athlete, usually we would use like foam rollers or muscle rollers, things like that, because we weren't actually ready to do the massages. And now that we can do it, whenever someone needs it, we're there to do it. So I think I did about 3 or 4 massages on various locations. One on the Achilles, which was kind of hard on the hands, the Achilles. One on the calf, feel like the calf thigh is big massage area. But now I kind of feel like now that we had no massage, I feel like something that the senior ATs don't want to do. So when we're in there observing, I think they get to pick on us a little bit, and now we get to do the massages. So it's kind of like passing the torch. So all I'm going to say is next year's class better be ready to do my massages, because I might be fed up with them by then. But we'll see. Did a couple of rehab with athletes, working on things like balance and stability. Just seeing how the ATs apply that to a specific sport is interesting, due to the fact that you're trying to get them ready for a specific back to play. So you have to take simple exercises, I guess, and turn them into more specific for that individual. Like they'll bring in a volleyball for a volleyball player, and when we're working on balance, they'll have to bump the ball back while keeping their balance. Basketball players might have to dribble a basketball. Baseball players might have to catch a baseball. So there's just little variations of the same main rehab exercise to kind of get the athlete more involved and get them ready for back to play. And that's something that I like to see. I like the more rehab side, because I like to see the athletes overcome their difficulties. And not to say I don't like the other aspect of being an AT and helping prevent injuries, but getting to watch them kind of grow is kind of what I'm looking forward to most. So that's this week's little segment. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Ciao.